This is Batuu, a planet so remote and insignificant that it barely shows up on official star charts. Luckily, it's well documented on theme park maps and fan websites written by people with too much disposable income. For centuries, it was a major stop on interstellar trade routes. But then someone invented better hyperspace lanes, and everyone just stopped bothering. Kind of like the way Blockbuster disappeared when people realized they didn't actually want to talk to a teenager about renting Shrek 2. But now, it's back on the map. Mostly because it's a great place to do crimes. You know, smuggling, bribery, running a dodgy antique shop. So basically, it's the space version of an airport duty-free store. This is Doc-Ondar's shop. If you want something rare, valuable, or potentially cursed, this is the place to come. The man himself, if we can call him a man, is an Ithorian, a species known for their 2 mouths, which is perfect for the amount of dodgy deals he makes. Doc-Ondar is a dealer in antiquities, which is a polite way of saying he sells stolen things for ridiculous amounts of money. Jedi holocrons, Sith relics, Mandalorian helmets, and possibly some stuff from a TJ Maxx clearance sale. If it has historical significance, he probably owns it. And if he doesn't own it, he's trying to buy it off someone who does. Or have them mysteriously disappear. This is the headstone of his father's grave. It's right here, in front of the shop, which is a bit morbid. Imagine going to IKEA and the first thing you see is a gravestone dedicated to the founder's dad. Nothing says, "Welcome to my shop," like a big rock reminding everyone that we all die eventually. So, why does he keep it here? Maybe it's a sign of respect. Maybe it's a warning. Or maybe it's just too heavy to move. And now we come to Savi's workshop, a place so secretive, it's literally hiding in plain sight. Officially, this is a scrap shop. Unofficially, it's a cult for people who really want to own a laser sword. The man behind all of this is Savi. Not much is known about him, but if history has taught us anything, it's that any mysterious figure running a hidden workshop is usually up to something either illegal or deeply philosophical, or both. Inside, visitors, who I assume have passed some sort of background check that only involves having 250 credits, take part in a deeply spiritual journey. Or as I like to call it, Build-A-Bear for people who can identify a TIE fighter by sound alone and have at least one detailed opinion about the physics of lightsabers. This is what the gatherers, Savi's very serious employees, call the sacred rite of lightsaber construction. They claim to be preserving Jedi traditions. I claim they're running the most expensive arts and crafts session in the galaxy. It all starts with this, the Kyber crystal. A mystical energy source that powers a lightsaber, connects with the Force, and, most importantly, changes color like a mood ring, but for existential crises. After that, you get to assemble your very own custom weapon. There are 4 design choices: Classic Jedi, Edgy Sith, Nature Core, and this will look great on my wall. Then comes the ignition ceremony, where people stare at their new lightsabers like they've just been chosen by destiny. It's very dramatic, like the Lion King, but with more humming sound effects. Once you're done, you leave with your completed saber and a deeper connection to the Force, or at least a deeper connection to the fact that you just spent more than your monthly electric bill on a glowing stick. And if the First Order catches you with it, you'd better have a good excuse, or at least run very fast. It might not be a coincidence, then, that right across from Savi's is the bounty board. This is the bounty board, which is like LinkedIn if LinkedIn had only one career option, and that career was kidnapper.
It's beeping.
Bounty hunting is an ancient profession. For thousands of years, it has been the primary way for unemployable weirdos to make a living. Unlike normal jobs, bounty hunting doesn't require any skills, just a helmet and a gun. But in Batuu, bounty hunters don't even need a gun. They just need a Magic Band Plus, not just a regular Magic Band, which is a futuristic device capable of tracking fugitives and getting you into a Disney hotel room. The way it works is simple. You scan your wrist, follow the lights in what is the galaxy's most overcomplicated treasure hunt disguised as a game of hot and cold, and eventually find a criminal standing behind a door, probably wondering why their entire escape plan hinges on standing behind a door. Then you collect your credits and get absolutely no healthcare benefits. This raises an important ethical question. Is it right to hunt people for money? To answer this, I tried to ask one of the bounties for their perspective, but unfortunately, none of them were allowed to speak to me because they're holograms. At the end of a hard day's work, bounty hunters return to the guild master, a holographic Rhodian who's probably seen things no Rhodian should see. He gives you credits, but not actual money, just imaginary Disney money that can't even be used on a Coke bottle shaped like a thermal detonator. If you want to experience the real Batuu, you come to Olga's Cantina, a place so lively it makes a Vegas nightclub at 3 a.m. look like a quiet book club. Only here, instead of bottle service and bad decisions, you get glowing drinks and the occasional backroom deal. Olga's Cantina is named after Olga Gara, the crime boss who runs Black Spire Outpost. No one's ever seen her, which is probably the most efficient way to manage a business, really. Think of her as the intergalactic Wizard of Oz, only with more extortion. Every underworld needs a center of operations, and this is it. It's where smugglers come to make deals, bribe officials, and overpay for drinks they could probably make at home. The drinks here are stupidly expensive. Some of them even change color, which is a fun gimmick, but also mildly terrifying. If my beverage starts glowing, I assume I'm being poisoned. And if I'm paying 17 credits for it, I assume I'm being robbed. I think I just drank radioactive optimism. And what's a cantina without music? Meet DJ Rex, a droid who went from piloting space tourists to DJing a crime bar. And honestly, this was the better career move. He's brilliant. The music here is actually fantastic. It turns out panicked energy and loud noises work just as well for DJing as they do for emergency landings. This might be the only place in the galaxy where you can dance to an Ithorian folk remix and genuinely enjoy it. They say Olga runs a tight operation, but judging by the bartenders smacking the power supply with a wrench every 5 minutes, it's less organized crime and more organized chaos. Still, I respect a business model held together by stubbornness and occasional violence. The drinks at Olga's Cantina contain very little alcohol or no alcohol at all, and yet somehow you still walk out of there making questionable life choices. Which is probably why so many people immediately agree to do a highly dangerous smuggling job for a pirate they've just met. This is the Millennium Falcon, the most legendary ship in the galaxy. It made the Kessel Run in less than 12 parsecs. It destroyed the second Death Star. and it is also held together by luck, duct tape, and a Wookiee's sheer determination. For decades, the Falcon has been on the run, shot at, stolen, lost in gambling matches, and repeatedly crashed into things. And yet somehow, it is still the fastest hunk of junk in the galaxy. Which makes me wonder, what was the second fastest hunk of junk? This is Hondo Ohnaka, a former pirate, now a respectable businessman. And by respectable, I mean he's still a pirate, but now he wears a name tag. Hondo runs Ohnaka Transport Solutions, a company that specializes in cargo transport, smuggling, and, most importantly, tricking complete strangers into doing the job for him. It's basically an unpaid internship, but with more lasers. The job is simple. Steal some highly explosive space fuel and don't die. But to do that, you need a crew. Each person has a specific role. The pilots steer the ship, the gunners shoot things, and the engineers, they frantically slap flashing buttons to stop the ship from immediately falling apart. The success of the mission depends entirely on teamwork, which is unfortunate. It's a thrilling high-stakes heist that, in reality, feels a lot like being trapped in a malfunctioning escape room with 5 people you've just met. Once you complete the mission, Hondo gives you a full report on your success. And by full report, I mean he tells you how much money you made and how much he's keeping. No matter how well you do, Hondo always wins. You get a pat on the back. Docking Bay 7 is Batuu's finest dining establishment, which, in fairness, is like saying, this is the best McDonald's on a motorway. Now, if you've got the eyes of an eagle, or just, eyes, you'll notice that the food here arrives in massive shipping pods. The numbers on them, 70, 80, and 83, are a secret Easter egg, referencing the years the original Star Wars films were released. Because when you think of the greatest cinematic saga in history, obviously, your first thought is, wow, I hope they name a cargo container full of meat after it. If I see my lunch being lowered into the restaurant the same way they transport toxic waste, I have to ask questions. This place is run by Strano Cookie Tuggs, an ex-gourmet chef who once worked for Maz Kanaka before her castle was blown to bits by the First Order. Presumably because someone didn't like their soup. It makes sense, really. If I survived a galactic war, I'd also want to spend my retirement cooking chicken in a metal crate. This is Surabat Valley Greens. It's a dish inspired by the lush fields of Batuu's Surabat River Valley, which, to be clear, do not actually exist. It features roasted tip-yip, which is the local name for chicken, because nothing makes a meal feel more exotic than renaming a bird that already exists. It's served on a bed of grains, greens, and vegetables, carefully balanced to make you feel both extremely nourished and vaguely superior to everyone eating fried space meat next to you. And the real question is, are these shipping pods just delivering food? Or is Docking Bay 7 actually a front for intergalactic smuggling? Think about it. You've got a kitchen hidden inside a cargo hold, a chef with a dodgy past, and a constant stream of anonymous shipments. So, if you ever find something unusual in your stew, congratulations. It might be a rare and valuable spice from Kessel, or a severed Rodian finger. Either way, at least it's high in protein. You've got your lightsaber. Now you need a droid. Because every great hero needs a sidekick, and since Chewbacca isn't for sale, a droid will have to do. Droids. They've been around since a long time ago, and people have relied on them for all sorts of things. Piloting ships, translating languages, and in some cases, committing war crimes. But here at Droid Depot, you can build your own, so long as you've got the credits and the patience to assemble your own purchase. Droid Depot is run by Mubo, a skilled trader, brilliant mechanic, and a man who has somehow convinced thousands of people to pay for the privilege of working on his assembly line. It's a lot like a real droid factory, except slower, more chaotic, and full of tourists. If you've ever tried assembling IKEA furniture while being judged by an Ugnaught, you already know the experience. Here, visitors can build their own droid, choosing from the famous R series, like R2-D2, or the BB series, which is basically a space hamster ball with commitment issues. Each droid can be customized, programmed, and even fitted with a personality chip, which determines whether it's loyal to the Resistance, the First Order, or just generally confused. It's like installing a political opinion into a blender, but in a fun, child-friendly way. Now, some people say droids are just simple machines, programmed to serve and obey. Others say they're fully sentient beings, capable of thought, fear, and even depression. If that's true, then Droid Depot is less of a toy shop and more of a disturbing factory where you can purchase a panicked new friend. And then comes the real challenge, figuring out how to take it home. The question is, where do all these droids end up? Do they go on adventures? Do they smuggle secret messages for the Resistance? Or do they spend the rest of their days shoved under a bed, occasionally scaring the family dog whenever Bluetooth accidentally reconnects? They say droids can't feel emotions, but I'm pretty sure mine now experiences deep personal offense every time the dog growls at it. It's terrible. I love it. Batuu is a place of mystery, history, and outright theft. It's where smugglers make their fortunes. Relics of the past find new owners, and some bloke named Hondo Anaka is probably trying to scam me right now.
Today, I am offering the opportunity of a lifetime.
No, you haven't.